We're joined now by someone who was there to share that special occasion, the mother of one of Michael's namesakes, Melissa's best friend. This is Sandy Peckinpah. Hi, Sandy.
Thank you. Hi. Godmother. Godmother of
Oh, and the
Michael
godmother.
Garrett.
Oh, well, that was a horrible thing for me to leave out. Very important. You were right there. From the minute when you got a message on the answering machine,
Right.
you just didn't think of anything but to be with your friend.
That's right.
How, from your perspective, how was she handling it, and how scared were you for her?
I was terrified because I had been through a similar situation a few years before Michael was born. My daughter had been born with a birth defect, and I was so frightened that she would have to go through a similar experience to mine. It's so terrifying. Every parent has the right to expect a beautiful birth. That's what we all want. That's a treasure, and it doesn't always happen that way. And as soon as I got the call, I got in my car, made arrangements for my other children to be picked up from school, and went up to the hospital. And there you were.
Being strong.
Oh, she was so courageous. It was...
They had drugs in me, Sandy.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that part. Okay.
Magnesium sulfate makes you a little wonky.
Yeah.
You talk about having a similar experience and being fearful that she might go through that. When your little boy was being taken from you, there was that deafening moment of silence and the whispering that I think you're referring to,
Yes,
Sandy.
yes.
And the doctors and nurses, and it's like...
Oh, it's terrifying. I know when the whole room got deadly quiet. You know, I heard, there's his hand, and then nothing for the longest time, and everyone was whispering. And I kept saying, do you have him yet? Is the baby out? Is the baby out? Is the baby out? And it seemed like hours. And I know when Julianne was born.
That's right. That's what you said to me. You said, now I know what you were talking about, because I told her there was a moment of deadly silence in the delivery room when my daughter was born. It was, the air was sucked out of the room, and I knew something was wrong, and no one would tell me what was wrong. And she had been born with a cleft, which is, unless you've seen an unrepaired cleft, it's a pretty terrifying thing to see. And I hadn't even suspected that anything could go wrong, because I'd had two healthy boys before my daughter was born. But that was such a relatable experience for the two of us.
Well, one of those healthy boys, this one got dibs on before you, as I understand, in the delivery room. Didn't you hold one of her sons before Sandy did?
Jackson, yes. When Sandy was in labor with Jackson, I also got the phone call and ran to the hospital just in the nick of time. Now, her delivery was a little different than mine. I spoke to her, and she said, can you hold on? I have to push now. Can you hold on? I have to push now. I was running to the hospital. I came to these doors. It said authorized personnel only, and I just sort of kicked my way through them and grabbed some scrubs and ran in. And the woman came out, actually, to give me my scrubs after hearing the door kick and said, you must be Melissa. We're expecting you. And I made my dramatic entrance just after Jackson made his, and they handed him to me.
And you went, oh, great!
Oh, look, it's your baby.
I remember all of us saying, he has a mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was some minute.
Your son is named after two very special people.
Very special people. He's named after Michael Landon and Sandy's firstborn son, Garrett Peckinpah, who passed away 2 years ago from meningitis. That's a picture of Garrett. He was a tremendous young man. He was a very important force in our lives, and we wanted to pay tribute to him. And Michael Landon, well, that kind of goes without saying. I mean, he was my mentor.
What a beautiful, loving legacy, and a wonderful tribute to both of those special people. And I know you're proud that her son is carrying your son's name. We've got to break away for just a couple of minutes. We'll be right back with you to hear from these nurses who found a celebrity mom in their midst. They helped care for little Michael. We'll also meet two of the doctors who helped save Michael's life. And we'll be right back. Cameron came at about the same time questions out here for you, so you are on.
Hi, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I just want to know how your older son dealt with what was happening to you and your husband.
We have 3 older boys altogether. The oldest one, who's 15, was nervous and concerned. The middle one was curious and excited and wanted to know everything that was, he was like me, he wanted to know everything that was going on, everything that was being done to the baby. And the youngest, my son, was very worried about Mikey. He did not like this one particular line that he had, this one IV. It was his umbilical line, which goes right up into the aorta. Am I correct? No, I don't know. In that general vicinity of the heart region. See, I've forgotten already. But I do remember my son, Dakota, saying one thing over and over again. Gosh, Mom, I love his feet. There they are.
Look at the
Mikey
brothers.
had these little tiny feet. Now he's got these big, fat Fred Flintstone feet. But he had these little tiny feet.
Melissa, I just wanted to say that you look so fabulous. How did you do it with such a young baby?
Now we get to the serious questions.
This is okay. Now let's get down to it. I actually did not do anything for quite a while. Just over the last, month and a half or 2 months, I started exercising again. I've mostly been home taking care of him, and he, up to that point, had been eating every 2 to 3 hours. So there really wasn't any time for me to do anything. But now he takes longer breaks, so I started running about 1 mile a day, lifting weights. And one thing was, when he was in the hospital, you know, going to and from, all I could eat was fast food. And that did not help with the weight loss. But now that I'm home, I'm eating properly and taking care of myself again. And thank you very much.
Yeah, she does look great.
Michael had so many problems when he was born. Are you worried at all that he'll have problems when he gets older?
Yes and no. I'm not really worried that he'll have any serious problems. I'm not afraid for anything like that. I'm very protective of his lungs. I don't like him to be around any kind of smoke. We recently fumigated our house. I was very scared about that stuff because his weakest spot was his lungs. He'll be a little slower developmentally. They're going to judge him developmentally according to when he was supposed to be born. That's his adjusted age.
Well,
so if he was 2 months early...
And they say by 4 or 5, preemies typically catch up.
Actually, by 2.
By 2. That's fascinating.
Yeah. By 2.
This is Dr. Neil Kaufman, a member of the board of directors of the March of Dimes, director of primary care pediatrics at Cedars-Sinai. And Melissa, I should say, is now the spokesperson for the March of Dimes. Good get for you guys.
Very, very important.
It's a real good get. Tell me about this drug. What is it called? Surfactant?
Surfactant is a chemical that we gave to Michael to make it so that his lungs could work. When babies are born prematurely, they don't have the ability to breathe properly. And this medicine, invented by the March of Dimes, funded through research that they had funded, it makes it so babies can breathe more easily.
So this is
a miracle drug.
Well, you know what?
It is a miracle drug.
The whole treatment of preemies is so miraculous now.
I know a woman who had 2 preemie twins 9 years ago, and they didn't have the surfactant then, and she lost both her boys, and they were both the same gestational age and size as my son. So if it wasn't for the March of Dimes, and if it wasn't for surfactant, and if it wasn't for the research, I wouldn't have Michael.
And it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
It's only going to get better. When we come back, I'm going to ask the doctors to talk about some of the things. You said you wanted to say some things about precautions people can take and give their kids the best chance, and we'll do that after this. Thank you, sir. Wow.